Calvary has really fulfilled a need that it perceived many years ago, over 100 years ago, that the care for the dying patient is as important as the care for the curative patient. And the need for Calvary will only grow as the population ages and we deal with the family along with the patient in trying to help them navigate this awful time in their life.
Calvary Care means that there is a holistic approach to the care of our patients. It's a spiritual care. Many of the issues revolve around what happens to me when I leave this earth. Total care also talks about the emotional aspect. What makes and defines Calvary is this desire to care for patients when they make their final farewells in this world. There is also the physical aspects. Our doctors are at the height of the scientific approach to all the symptoms and all the other issues in advanced cancer. And lastly is the grief aspect. We have special programs dedicated to the care of patients and families to immediately answer any concerns that a family may have, not only during their stay here, but long after the patient is left.
Families suffer as much as patients, and we have learned that it is important to care for the family and help them get through this process almost as much as it is to care for the patient.
My wife, Jessica, and I were married for 46 years. She and I actually met in social work school. I was a doctoral student, and she was a master's student. It's like a romantic thing there. One day she had terrific chest pain. We called EMS. She went to the emergency room, and that evening she was diagnosed with massive amount of cancer in her upper body, and every test was more ominous than the previous one. They sent my wife's application to Calvary, and within a few hours she was accepted. And then within a few days she said, "The staff here is unbelievable, genuinely interested in you, available, respectful." And she really fell in love with this place and the staff with her. And she thanked me and my daughter for making it possible for her to be here. Within a year and a half, my wife died and I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
When I found out that George came in as a patient, my first reaction was, what? I just was shocked. I couldn't believe it. When you come here, you become part of us. You're our family. When his wife was here, we spoke with her, and at that time, we were really working with him also as the family member. Now he's the patient, so we've spent some good time with his daughter, just offering support for her and being there, and seeing the various friends that have passed through his door. It's like the Grand Central Station of Calvary, because he's a very special individual.
I was born in the Bronx in 1942. So it was a rough childhood, and I think it made me more sensitive to human need and the human condition.
I always feel that going into his room is a learning experience. And it's not just the learning experience, but it's gone deeper because it's a friendship. It's somebody that you really feel close to. And one of the challenges of working with end-of-life patients is that you do have that emotional connection, and a lot of times you do, even if the patient might be here for a couple of hours. You can still get that connection, but you know that it's a finite amount of time, and you just appreciate each moment as it comes.
The challenge for us is to meet the very unique needs of each individual patient and family as they deal with the end of life. The continuum of care that Calvary as an organization is able to provide is, for me, the single most important element in providing care to individuals.
Calvary has its main acute hospital in the Bronx. It has an acute unit in the NYU Lutheran Hospital in Brooklyn, and it has two other institutional sites in the Mary Manning Walsh Nursing Home on York Avenue and in the Ozanam Nursing Home in Queens. Those two nursing home facilities service our at-home hospice patients who may have a need that would require them to be cared for in an institution. Most families, if they have a choice, they'd like their loved one at home. The home hospice program has grown dramatically in the past 10 years. In fact, we care for more patients in their homes than we do in the acute hospitals.
We have patients who can really start in any program. Someone might start in our home care program while they're in active treatment and then come inpatient and then go back home onto the hospice program. Because we are one organization, we can easily and quickly help to transition patients.
Sadly, the demand for Calvary services is much greater than we can fulfill. Expanding the presence of the hospital in the New York City area, it is really trying to meet the demand that there is there. And by getting closer to them, to their families, we're just helping them to make it as easy as one could in those unfortunate circumstances.
Calvary is a miracle, a phenomenon that this institution is an acute care specialty hospital for advanced cancer. There are no others in the United States.
What makes me proud about Calvary is that it's still existing here through our donors, through our elected officials obtaining appropriate legislation, and through our friends and our staff to keep this hospital available for the next patient or family that needs it.
And as we go forward in the next few years, the hospital will continue to need resources to meet those demands.
There's no greater charity than caring for your fellow human being.
I want you to know every single dollar you give to us is here with us. God doesn't have arms and legs, but you have become His arms and legs with us.
For nearly 120 years, Calvary Hospital has cared for adult patients at the end of life. Many may have had advanced cancer, but everybody, all of them, are facing life's final journey. Calvary's priorities are so evident: compassion, respect for the dignity of every individual, and non-abandonment of patients and families. Why, those priorities are as strong today as the day the hospital was founded 12 decades ago. Calvary welcomes patients of all faith traditions with outstretched arms of love, like Jesus on the cross on Calvary. They provide all patients with tender, loving care every single day. Take it from me, I go to Calvary a lot. I visit patients there, and there's no place in the world quite like Calvary Hospital. So I'm honored in joining you in saluting this magnificent place. May God continue to bless you. May God bless our beloved Calvary Hospital and the people who are there. Thank you for your support.